Survival Year by Jennifer French. Transcript of her novel. Chapter 7. Matt walked quickly across Milan Airport's hard terrazzo floors towards the immigration booths where police in sharp uniforms chatted to each other, apparently without a care in the world. He was able to easily navigate the series of tunnels to his train. Once aboard, he relaxed, hanging off his strap, his bag pressed against his right leg as the carriage swayed. He noticed a girl seated in the corner. She was a student, he guessed. The jeans perfect, flat boots slouched, the jacket dark gray and the scarf tattered and soft. She had waves of dark hair that fell partly over her face. She was engrossed with her tablet, looking up once or twice and catching his careful, sidelong glance. Her large brown eyes glanced into his with a look of slightly wistful intelligence. He shifted his gaze to his feet, unwilling to seem to be a stalker. The wheels whined like the hounds of hell, and as the train pulled into the central station, Cardorno, Matt waited with the crowd for the slow ones to get off the train. As an elderly woman stepped away, he moved forward, feeling the press of people behind him. A sixth sense told him that someone, probably the large guy with the suit and the black and white sports bag he'd noticed at the airport, was too close behind him. A veteran of late-night trains when he studied in New York, he did not hesitate when he felt someone taking a close interest in his bag, or for that matter himself. He jumped to the right, his arm pressing the bag against his side. He bounced off a young guy in a sweatshirt, who absorbed the hit to his shoulder and looked up. "Pardon me," Matt said, wondering why he'd been hit so hard in the ribs under his left arm when he'd moved so quickly. "It's okay," the young guy said with an intonation that made his words sound completely unfamiliar. He moved off down the platform. Matt stumbled. He turned to look at the big man in the suit, but saw only his back moving quickly to the exit tunnel. He dropped his bag and touched his left side. Why was his hand wet? And the leg of his jeans? He looked up into the brown eyes of the student, now getting off the train, and saw shock in them. She screamed and then dropped the hand holding the phone from her face. Matt looked stupidly at the blood that seemed to be going everywhere. He felt faint. The girl took off her scarf, lifted his jacket, and pressed the scarf against his side. She took his elbow and pressed it against the scarf, hard. He sat while the student and a businessman in a gray suit and tie spoke rapid Italian to each other, to passerby, into their phones. It seemed as though many minutes passed in the cave-like surroundings before a disheveled-looking official came to have a look at him. Then, finally, although it was probably only a few more minutes, he thought later, 2 paramedics arrived with a stretcher, along with several police, who, stumbling with his language, asked him his name and what he'd seen. It was a very short conversation. The paramedics placed him on the stretcher and swiftly wrapped a large bandage around his middle, leaving the blood-sodden scarf in place, and then started to wheel him away. "Grazie, grazie," he called back to the dark-haired girl, who looked after him, her white face and throat now looking exposed and vulnerable, her hands dropped by her sides, her bag swinging limply from her shoulder. Suddenly, she ran to his side. The ambulance paramedic spoke to her, and she answered them sharply. They turned back to their work, and she picked up Matt's hand and walked beside them. He looked up into her eyes and focused on the warmth he saw in them. "What did you tell them?" he whispered. She leaned in. "That I'm your girlfriend," she smiled. Right now, it felt as though her eyes were his tenuous link with life. As Matt felt his conscience fading, a feeling of defeat enveloping him as the vicious pain began to build in his back. The ambulance was moving fast, Matt noticed, only half aware of the needle going into one arm and the drip being set up, a cuff being set on his other arm. The siren was a high-pitched continual sound. He started to feel fear that he had been very badly hurt. Why else would this ambulance be speeding around Milan? Was he dying? The young student relayed his concern to the paramedics and translated their reply. "They are worried about your blood pressure. It is very low," she said. Within minutes, the ambulance doors opened and the stretcher was wheeled into the emergency room. Nurses came and went, taking blood, cutting his clothes from him. A team of doctors arrived, and one of them leaned down. "We need to give you a scan, because we suspect you have a lacerated spleen, and possibly a pneumothorax, which is an injury to your left lung," she said. Matt hung on grimly to consciousness as he went into the CT scanner, and was able to agree to have an operation to have his spleen removed. Then the pain relief they'd given him finally worked, and he drifted off, less than 2 hours after the train had arrived on the platform. Back on the same platform, Anthony stared bleakly at the red pool on the tiles and the police tape surrounding it. He lifted his phone to make a report. It looked to him as though someone was trying to send a message, and whether Matt was alive or dead, the gauntlet had just been thrown down before the survival year supporters.